everyone, welcome back to GK Today. I'm Nuzhat Sana and in this video I'll discuss today's top current and static general studies questions for UPSC Prelims Examination 2022 onwards. And these questions are framed keeping in view both the factual as well as analytical aspects of UPSC Prelims exam. Also, I would like to inform you that these questions are part of GK Today's UPSC Prelims test series, which is available in GK Today Android app. And the test series for 2022 Prelims examination comprises total of 7500 questions, divided 2500 questions on current general studies and 5000 questions on static general studies. And the series has started from May 2021 and it will end with UPSC Prelims Examinations 2022. So if you wish to access all questions of GK Today UPSC Prelims test series, you may subscribe the test series in the app. So now without wasting any further time, let's get started.
So today this is our lecture number 47 and now let's start. Question number 1. With reference to various steps taken by government to improve FDI inflow into India, consider the following statements. First of all, what is FDI? So this is a kind of process whereby residents of one country acquire ownership of assets for the purpose of controlling production, distribution or any other activities of a firm in another country, which is called host country. And it is different from foreign portfolio investment, where the foreign entity merely buys stocks and bonds of a company. So FPI basically does not provide the investor with control over the business. Okay. So this FDI has basically three components. First is equity capital. It is the investor's purchase of shares of an enterprise in a country other than its own. Okay. Then second is reinvested earnings. This actually comprises the direct investor's share of earnings which are not distributed as dividends or profits. Okay. And third component is intra-company loans. These refer to short or long-term borrowing and lending of funds between the direct investors and affiliate enterprises. Okay. So what are the routes through which India gets FDI? First is automatic route. In this, the foreign entity does not require the prior approval of the government or the RBI. Okay. And second is government route. In this, the foreign entity has to take the approval of government. And FIFP, that is Foreign Investment Facilitation Portal, facilitates the single window clearance of applications which are through approval route, and it is administered by Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, which comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Okay. So to increase the FDI inflow into India, government has taken various steps. For example, it launches various schemes that attract the investment, such as National Technical Textile Mission, then there is Product Linked Incentive Scheme, then Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, etc. Also, the government has elaborated upon the initiatives under the Atmanirbhar Bharat to encourage investment in different sectors. Now, why it was in news? Because in the financial year 2020 to 21, India sees growth of 10% in FDI and Singapore emerged as the top investor with almost 33.33% of all the investments, and it was followed by USA and then Mauritius. And the sharpest growth among the top 10 FDI origin countries was recorded from Saudi Arabia. Okay. Now talking about top FDI destinations, Gujarat was the top FDI destination in 2020-21. And it was further followed by Maharashtra at second place and Karnataka at third place. Okay. And talking about the top sectors, computer software and hardware has emerged as the top sector with about 45% share of the total FDI inflow. And these are further followed by construction, or you can say infrastructure activities at second place, and then service sector were at third place. Okay. Now let's see the options. I think we have talked a lot about FDI inflow. First is 100% FDI is allowed in coal mining under the automatic route. So yes, the government has allowed 100% foreign direct investment in coal sector under the automatic route, and the investment is allowed in mining as well as allied infrastructure. This is right. Second statement says empowered group of secretaries were established to enable timely clearances by various ministries. So yes, in the year 2020, the government set up empowered group of secretaries chaired by the cabinet secretary to help the global investors by enabling timely clearances by various ministries. This is also right. And the third statement says project development cells were established in each state to facilitate investment projects. Actually, these are not the state things. Rather, the government set up project development cells in various ministries and departments to develop investable projects in coordination with the central and state government. So that's why it is wrong, and correct answer becomes only 1 and 2. Fine. Question number 2. The appointment committee to appoint CBI director comprises. So which among the following personalities are in the appointment committee to appoint a CBI director? So basically CBI director is appointed by an appointment committee that consists of, first of all, Prime Minister. Yes, this is right. Leader of opposition. This is also correct. And third is Chief Justice of India. Means fourth option. No Minister of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions are there in the committee. So correct answer becomes only 1, 3 and 4, option number C. Actually, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946 is the source of powers of CBI, and the legislation was enacted for investigation of corruption cases in various parts of the government. So CBI is a premier investigating agency which was established in the year 1963, and the committee selects the director from a list of candidates sent by the Department of Personnel and Training. Okay. Now why CBI term was in news? Because recently the central government has appointed Mr. Subodh Kumar Jaiswal as the new director of CBI. Do remember that the establishment of the CBI was recommended by Santhanam Committee on Prevention of Corruption 1962 to 64. Okay. And CBI is obviously not a statutory body, and CBI provides assistance to the Central Vigilance Commission and Lokpal as well. And it is also the nodal police agency in India which coordinates investigations on behalf of Interpol member country. And the director of CBI has been provided security of 2-year tenure office by the CVC Act of 2003. And the CBI has jurisdiction to investigate offences pertaining to 69 central laws, 18 state acts and 231 offences of the IPC. Fine. Next question. With reference to various forms of hepatitis, consider the following statements. First of all, hepatitis is a viral disease that causes inflammation of the liver. And there are 5 types of hepatitis: A, B, C, D and E, which are caused by 5 unrelated viruses. And among these, B is caused by DNA virus, while rest are of RNA viruses. Okay. So second statement says, while hepatitis A and B are caused by RNA virus, C is caused by DNA virus. No, it is wrong. And according to a new World Health Organization report, injecting drugs is a major cause for new hepatitis C infections, and only 21% of hepatitis C infections are diagnosed and 62% receive treatment. So globally, hepatitis C causes 3 million new infections every year, and it is spread through the blood, and there are no vaccines available for the disease. Also, only 10% of hepatitis B infections, which causes 1.1 million new infections per year, are diagnosed, and a mere 22% of them receive treatment. Okay. Now let's talk in detail about these types of hepatitis. First is hepatitis A. This is an infectious liver disease caused by hepatitis A virus, and it is acute, and in majority of the cases, symptoms in young people are not recognized at all. And it spreads to others through contaminated food, water and close contact with an infected person. Okay. Then there is hepatitis B. It is an infectious disease caused by hepatitis B virus infection, and it is spread by flattened wounds, contact with blood, and infectious body fluids. And hepatitis B can also be spread by sharing personal items such as razors or toothbrush with an infected person. Okay. Then talking about hepatitis C, it is caused by hepatitis C virus, and this can be transmitted through infected needles at the time of birth, through an infected person's body fluids, and having sex with multiple partners, especially with HIV infected persons. And also it can be transmitted through food or water. Then hepatitis D is one of the most serious liver diseases caused by hepatitis D virus, and it is transmitted through infected blood or wounds. And last is hepatitis E. This is a waterborne disease that mainly spread through water, and it could spread through contaminated blood, food and water as well. Also it could be acute or chronic in nature. Okay. Now let's see the first option. While hepatitis A, B and C are caused by different viruses, this is correct. Hepatitis D and E are caused by overconsumption of alcohol. No, this is wrong, and correct answer becomes neither one nor two. So why it was in news? Because the Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology was awarded to Americans Harvey J. Alter and Charles M. Rice for the discovery of hepatitis C virus in the year 2020. So that's why we have taken this question. Okay. Now next question. With reference to working environment of the Gulf countries, which of the following term is different from other three options? So let's understand each option one by one. First is kafala system, or you can say sponsorship system. So this is a major impediment to attract workers to the Gulf countries, and in the year 2009, Bahrain became the first among GCC countries to repeal the system. And it is again in news because recently Saudi Arabia has planned to cancel this sponsorship system and replace it with a new contractual system between migrant workers and employers in the year 2021. Okay. Now second is golden visa. This is a long-term residence visa program of UAE, and it was launched in the year 2019 to enable the foreigners to live, work and study in the country without needing a national sponsor. Okay. Then third is strategy for talent attraction and retention. This was adopted by UAE in its attempt to become one of the top 3 countries in terms of talent attraction. And last is Vision 2030. It is an economic transformation program of Saudi Arabia, and one of its objectives is to attract highly skilled foreigners. So which one is odd one out? It is kafala system, because the kafala system is prevalent in several countries, while all other options are country specific policies. Okay. So basically the kafala system binds the migrant workers to one employer in many countries of West Asia, and the practice of kafala system has been prevalent in many countries. For example, Gulf Cooperation Council, that is Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and UAE, then Jordan and Lebanon. So it has 3 bodies. First is migrant laborer, second is an employer who is the sponsor and he is called kafil, and third is there should be a proper contract period. Okay. So one major limitation of kafala system is the migrant workers are completely dependent on the kafil for their livelihood and stay of living under the kafala system. Okay. So that's it for today. I hope you have liked the session. If you want to give any review, feedback or suggestion regarding these lectures, you can tell us in the comment section. Definitely we'll try to implement that. And now we'll meet again tomorrow with 5 more new and interesting questions. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe to GK Today. With this, me Nuzhat Sana signing off.